There's some Malbec in the house, there's some Malbec in the... doesn't really rhyme with anything. I never really cared about Malbec. I always thought it was just like some homogenous, no character wine from Argentina. My perception kind of started to change when a wine rep came to the bazaar with the national sales rep from Achival Ferrer. And he had like 3 or 4 single vineyard, old vine, sick Malbec bottling that blew my mind. A few weeks later, I went to an Argentinian steakhouse in West Hollywood. It was on 3rd Street. I'm sure it's not there anymore because Gavin Newsom has done such an incredible job in closing all these restaurants down. The wine guy there had 2 wines open, a 1977 and a 1994 Bodegas Weinert Estrella Series Malbec. And still to this day, those were 2 of the greatest wines, and I was kind of like a fan. I was like, wow, Malbec can be very, very serious. And then I kind of forgot about Malbec altogether until I drank that bottle of Cahors a few weeks ago, that Chateau Gatal. And that was just like so good, so fresh, so beautiful. It was everything that I really, really love. So I figured it was maybe about time I check out some Argentine Malbec again in that same sort of price point. So this is 2017 Doña Paula Estate Malbec from Valle de Uco, Mendoza, Argentina. I tried to do some research. I went to their website, but I don't know who Doña Paula is, and I don't know who owns this winery. I emailed them, but they didn't say. It's a secret, apparently. Which makes me think that George Soros owns this winery. Junk bond traders or whatever. I don't want to sound like Alex Jones or anything, but the Malbec is turning the frogs dead. Quick history, okay? Malbec originated in Bordeaux, France, where it was used as a blending grape, but it was supporting Cab and Merlot because it did different things. It offered different colors, different fruit flavors. And then there was this guy, I guess a French botanist, okay? And everybody talks about how this guy brought Malbec from France to Argentina in 1868. But then I was doing a little bit more research, and according to Jancis Robin, who's British, so she's obviously much smarter, she's claiming that Malbec has been in South America since 1940, and it was brought to Chile. But it doesn't really matter. It's not a pissing contest because Chile wound up embracing Cabernet and Argentina went all in on Malbec. So Argentina was an economic powerhouse, but it went into bankruptcy like starting around the 60s, and then I think it totally collapsed in the 80s, mostly because of out of control spending, like failed social program, racked up like massive debt, soaring taxes. Sounds familiar, sort of. That really put the kibosh on the whole wine industry. So then in the 90s, it kind of started to come back because land was so cheap and labor was so cheap. So big time investors started buying land there. And Doña Paula was founded by somebody, we don't know who, in 1997. False flag operation. Now, again, I really didn't know much about Doña Paula, but I did find a little bit of information on the winemaker, and his name is Marcos Fernandez. And I found a great article about him and some other kind of maverick winemakers in Argentina that was published in the Wine Enthusiast in 2018. Fernandez says he and his peers are, in general, harvesting significantly earlier than in the past to corral and preserve natural acidity. We used to believe that more of everything was better, right? More ripeness, more oak, more alcohol. But along the way, we've learned if you wait too long to pick, okay, to harvest, you lose that sense of place. And this is what we want. We want people to focus more on wines of place, right? Not processed, not big fruit, not huge alcohol, not oak, all that stuff. But unfortunately, this winemaker left Doña Paula in 2019. Why? We don't know why. Didn't say. When I emailed them again to find out who the new winemaker was, I got no reply at all, which only means to me that George Soros is making the wine now. There's a couple of kick-ass things about Argentina that's different than Cahors. One, you got the Andes Mountains. Massive snow caps and really high elevation. And that snow cap is what's melting and irrigating these vineyards. And also, some of these wines are growing at stupidly high elevations. $9.99 bottle of Malbec was grown at 4,400 feet elevation. Now, there's one more cool thing about Argentine Malbec. When they were bringing Malbec from France to Argentina, what was going on back in Europe? Phylloxera, a bug, a pest, right? It wiped all of their vineyards out. So almost all of Europe is replanted on American rootstock because this is more impervious to the phylloxera bug. The Malbec that's planted in Cahors and in Bordeaux is all planted on American rootstock. However, the Malbec that's planted in Argentina, supposedly, is still on European rootstock because they never got phylloxera down there because of the high elevation and the sandy soils or whatever the case may be. You've got a lot of not only old vineyards that have survived, but you've got what they call Vitis vinifera or European rootstock growing Malbec. It's not even really the same animal. So that's kind of cool to me as well. Just to have a look at it, it does have an intensely beautiful kind of purple color to it, but not like this electric neon purple like the Cahors had. This is a little bit more of like a reddish purple, a little bit of a more darker purple. It's not opaque, especially out towards the rim. You're getting some light through there. It's a pretty color for sure. On the nose, it actually doesn't smell like I was expecting it to smell at all. Again, for a Malbec at this price point, what I'm used to is kind of just like a big fruit bomb. Definitely has this like leather jacket smell. It smells like a girl I used to date, frankly. Well, her jacket anyway. And a lot of minerals, like graphite and kind of like a copper penny too. It's weird, you know? And on the palate, let's check it out. I'll tell you what this wine is. It's restrained. I'm kind of surprised, right? So on the palate, when I taste it, quite bright. It has really fresh acidity. It's not super ripe plum, but more than fruit. Again, it's got this high acid. It doesn't have that same kind of limestone characteristic that the Cahors did, but it still has a lot of really pronounced minerality, kind of like roasted tobacco quality. Kind of tastes like the wet end of a cigar. And I'm gonna say this is a lot of wine for $9.99, right? But I'm also gonna say, for that price, I don't think the average consumer is looking for something this lean, this austere. I mean, this is a little bit more sophisticated or a little bit more challenging than people shopping for Malbec at $9.99 might expect. It's like you wanted to analyze this, but you got Taxi Driver. So I love that the winemaker is like trying to harvest a little bit early and take advantage of that high elevation, but I think he might be kind of like blocking his own Malbec. He's picking early, so it doesn't get too ripe. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think maybe he held back a little bit too much, just a little bit. And that's probably why George Soros fired his ass, right? Because these globalists, they don't really care about like your individualist terroir, right? They don't really give a shit about your dreams or your limestone. They want everything to kind of fall in line and be sort of homogenous here. And this is all speculation and projection. I don't know why this winemaker left Doña Paula, but if I had to guess, I would almost guess that maybe he wanted to be a little bit too fancy schmancy for them and they wanted to just kind of like dumb it down a little bit. I think maybe this wine is like out of balance a little bit. I think maybe it needs just a little bit more fruit, just a touch. I mean, you're in Argentina. You've got all this sun and heat. Why try to be something you're not, you know? These winemakers in California are like, I'm growing Chardonnay, but I'm making it like Chablis. It's like, why? You're never gonna make Chablis in California, okay? You're never gonna make Cahors in Mendoza. Just be who you are and balance it. And I think you might find that sweet spot that's also going to be pleasurable to the consumer as well, okay? So all in all, I'm going to give this wine 88 points. As if I know anything, I really don't. James Suckling, I think, gave this 91 points. This is like a 90-point wine, according to some, you know, wine writers who know a lot more than me. But just for me, for my palate, I guess I'm like some kind of Karen. I think it needs to be a little bit more fruity. What do I know?